Actually, you could probably start anytime, honestly.
Okay.
Shalom, boys and girls, and welcome. So this is a Daughters of Om interview, and today we have the honor and privilege of interviewing our very own Rachel for her book, as you can see in the background, A Mother's Broken Promise. So Rachel, I would like to ask the first question. Before that, we have Martha and Kathy as well, sorry. So Rachel, I would want to know, what inspired you to write this book?
You know, it's funny because the Lord had been talking to me about promises that we make about or to our children. And this was a book that took me about 20 years to write. Truly, honestly. I had started writing it, computer goes down, I lose everything. And then a few years later, you get discouraged. And a few years later, I begin again. And this time, like, it blinked and it was gone. And I'm like, son, you work with, computers. Can you find my book? And he couldn't find it anywhere. Mm-hmm. Like, it totally disappeared. And it happened a third time. And so then one day he was like, sit down. And I began to write.
Wow. And it all came back to you.
Yeah, it did. I think because the story, has been in my heart for such a long time. And it was a message that he felt it was important for us to give to parents, not just mothers. I mean, I'm a mom, so I wrote it from a mother's perspective.
Yeah, and what came across so strongly for me was the love that the mother had for her children and how they reciprocated it. And it was really moving.
Sometimes I'll notice, and it's not every father, but sometimes I'll notice that the bond between a mother and a child is so strong. I mean, you carry this baby in your womb for 10 months, 40 weeks, and so there's a lot of bonding that happens with a child in your womb.
That was really moving. I must say that I enjoyed reading your book, most especially because the first few pages, you just did a wonderful job that I was so emotionally invested from the very beginning, from the get-go. And then you held me in suspense throughout all the pages. And I really like that. And also how you were saying about the bonding with the kids, because how you've written it out with the children. I don't want to give away too much, but with the children, like, seeing visions of their mother, and you're like, is it a vision? Is it a dream? What's happening? Just goes to show that, yes, there's a supernatural element to the connection between a mother and her children. So that was really beautiful. I wanted to commend you for that, for just the way you wrote your book, that it's really captivating and engaging. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, that was all Holy Spirit, to be perfectly honest with you, because he just gives you a download. We do have an imagination. It is absolutely sanctified. Mm-hmm. And so what we get from him, we write. Or her, some people say her, I say him. That's where I'm at.
So how were you able to, I'm sorry, I'm just jumping in. I don't know if anybody else had a question, but how were you able to just balance that supernatural element and be able to present it, to our readers without giving away too much? Because I think that was just, you did that. So it was, not giving away too much about, what it is that we're looking at, but nonetheless aware that there's a supernatural thing happening here. Just walk me through that, please.
Well, anytime that I would sit down to write, I always handed it over to the Lord. And I was like, okay, what do you want me to write today? And I'm a very visual person. So if you say I'm holding a red apple and you're not in front of me on the phone, I actually could see you holding a red apple. Or imagine you, if I don't physically see you with my open eyes, I can imagine you holding that red apple. And so that's kind of how for me, that's kind of how it goes, so the Lord, as he speaks to me, I'm actually seeing and experiencing what I'm writing.
Yeah.
And I was like that since I was a kid. So I'd be reading the book, but I could see the picture turning in my mind. And that's, honestly, that's how it is. I mean, it's that whole, I'm going to call it imagination for now, right? So it's that whole imagination of what Yahweh is showing you. And it's just like churning and churning. And of course, I can't write as fast as I'm seeing what I'm to write. So I'd be like this. I knew there was mistakes everywhere, right? And but you have to, go back and I would. And it was like after he showed me a picture, I'd go back and look at it. And that's another thing that took a long time. Instead of just writing the book and then going back to edit, it was like I'd go back, I'd write, and then there was like a pause, and I'd go back and reread it, try to correct things, because then the picture starts turning again. And I have to jump, forward and write again.
It's amazing. You did a good job. I could certainly see how you're very descriptive in the visions, and you're right. I was there with you, being able to witness what they were going through in the books.
Fantastic. Yeah. Good.
I also see the pictures. When I've read a book and they've made a movie of it, it's kind of a disappointment because the people never look like what I thought they should look like.
I agree.
Okay, I got a couple things I jotted down. I want the recipe for the white chocolate macadamia nut cookies that you talk about in there. Because they're always cooking in this story, right? They're cooking a lot.
They are.
This is a mystery novel. From chapter 3, you're trying to figure out something. And even if you have a premonition that you know what it is, you don't know really until you get to the end.
Yeah.
The other thing, because I know you, I love how you incorporated dreams and interpretations of dreams. And how even the young children, when they saw a dream, when they were in tune with being able to hear the Father's voice, Yahweh, God, and they had explicit instructions when they could do this or that, was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because there will people who read this book that their children are doing this and they'll be like, oh, this is okay.
Yeah.
This is perfectly fine. So I love the book. I highly recommend. It's an extremely easy read. You do fall in love with the characters.
Yeah.
Most of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, I highly recommend A Mother's Broken Promise. So.
Thank you. Yeah, the dream interpretation thing, I've been a dreamer since I was a wee little child, and it was not encouraged, right? It wasn't, not that it wasn't encouraged. My parents didn't know enough to help me, right? And I didn't always have good dreams, but had that been nourished as a younger child, who knows,
Right.
what things may have happened. Because our dreams are very important. It is God who gives them to us. And if we're not listening, and that's the other thing, I felt like the Lord was saying, I want my little ones to grow up talking about their dreams and being encouraged and helping them to get revelation, right? And sometimes, I talk to my grandchildren, they're little, 4, well, he just turned 5, but was 4, 3, now we have tiny one that we live with. And, that's something that I really want to nurture with them as well. And so I always ask them, what you guys dream? And we talk about the dreams. And that is such a good thing for parents to do with their children. Even if it's a scary dream, we need to talk to our children about it and see what the Lord is saying. And if you don't believe in God, that's okay. Just say, Creator, show me. What are you telling me about this dream? And there is a higher power. And if you can't say Creator, say higher power, right? And try to get an answer to the dreams that you personally are having or your children are having. So that's where that kind of stems from.
Yeah, another thing that resonated with me was the children almost start beginning to teach others.
Yes.
And in this, and when I say others, I mean adults,
Yes.
because of that childlike faith
Mhm.
that is just so innocent. So things the children could see, maybe an adult couldn't see right away, and then the adult decides, if they can see, why can't I see? So yeah, I think the kids are teaching a lot in this book too.
Well, and that's one of the things the Lord showed me, is that the young ones will be teaching the older ones, the parents, the grandparents, right? We have a lot to learn. No one knows everything. And those little ones, they have some mysteries that can be revealed.
True.
Why not?
I know.
And they're more open to it than we are, because we've been told what to think and how to think it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Rachel, I
Yeah.
see on the front cover, you have a lot of roses.
Yes, I do.
And I must
say that.
Yeah, before I ask my question, I must tell you that my mom sent me something about Catherine Kuhlman. And did you know that when she was in hospital, she wrote down on a piece of paper the exact time and day that she knew she would pass. And she said she wanted roses at her funeral. She died. She transitioned the exact time and day that she wrote down, and throughout not only her room, not only the ward, throughout the entire hospital, they could smell roses.
Wow.
Yeah, and I immediately thought of your book. And so we haven't as yet given the audience any sort of synopsis of the book. And you can do that even if it's a murder mystery, but it's not murder. Sorry, that's not like murder, like, okay. But I was wondering if you could give the synopsis, but through maybe the lens of the roses.
Well, Francie loves roses, and she has a rose garden. And so the children understand this. And of course, Yahweh knows this. And even now, as I'm speaking, I can start to smell roses. That is one of our giftings, is that we should be able to see through all of our giftings. Mm-hmm. And roses are actually very special to me. So I tend to smell roses a lot. And I know that that's how he talks to me. And he's telling me, I am present here. I am here with you. And so every time I get a whiff of roses, I mean, I don't have roses in my home, but every time I get a whiff of roses, it it reminds me that Yahweh is here with me. And so through the story, they smell a lot of things that, will remind them of their mommy, that reminds them that God is showing them something, and it piques their interest, and immediately, like, they're super sensitive and ready to accept whatever is about to be shown to them.
Mhm.
That
So who's,
help?
yeah,
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, because
Yeah.
their mum goes missing. It's two
Yeah.
little boys, and the mum goes missing, and she had promised to make cookies with the younger one, and they came home and the mum was not there. And so the story unfolds, but always the smell of these roses. And the interesting thing to me was like, is she dead? Is she coming back? Is this like, you know what I mean? Is this her speaking to them from another realm? And I mean, this is something you will find out in the book, and it was very interesting how it did pan out. So we can't give too much away, but yeah, the roses played such a big part. And it can also be quite creepy when, like, they all there and then suddenly there's actual roses there, and then there's the smell of roses. It's like your imagination, it depends on the frame of mind you're in. I mean, you could go like, oh, this is creepy, like there's a dead person that like smells like roses, or or like, wow, it's the Holy Spirit. Like, you can go so where that the reader can actually take their experience of the smells and the roses and put it in. Yeah. I love that part. Yeah.
and also same with your the way you've inserted dreams in there, and what you mentioned about speaking with children about dreams and having that conversation in the morning. I do that a lot. So did you dream anything? And we'll talk about the dreams, and you try to like listen and hear and try to understand through the Holy Spirit what the dreams are trying to reveal to us. But like Michelle was saying, that all of it can be looked at, the scary dreams or whatever, or not so pleasant dreams, can be all looked at through the filter of fear, or through the filter of the Father's heart and the Father's love, that, Yahweh, what are you trying to say here? And so, yes, at the very beginning of this book, immediately I'm like, oh my gosh, is she dead? I mean, if they're seeing her and they can smell her, is this from another realm? But yeah. I just love how you introduced all these elements, they're quite, I want to say like chunky to chew on, but you've just inserted them into the story, and we're continuously engaging with all these supernatural elements. And again, we're like, what is happening? What is happening? And
Right.
so, yeah, so wonderfully written. Yeah.
So may I say something about my book cover?
I wanted to know who the picture was.
Oh, it's no one.
Oh, okay.
It's no one. I wish that I had had a good picture, maybe of myself with the two, with my two little ones, but
Yeah.
I didn't have a good picture that I wanted to use. But the rainbow is a promise.
Yeah.
It's a promise from the Lord to us. And unfortunately, as parents, we break promises to our kids. And so when I was looking at the book cover, I just kept seeing rainbows. And I'm like, okay, I'll look for rainbows, and I looked through all my personal pictures that I had, and I couldn't find a good rainbow picture. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to try to find them. So, and of course the roses, because they're a big part of the story, something that she was very passionate about, and something that the children connected to her. So yeah, that's kind of all about, that's about it. That's about it.
There's two rainbows, and there happens to be two parallel stories, like a story within a story, like two rainbows. And do you want to tell us a little bit about the story within the story without giving away too much of the story?
Is it kind of hard to do that?
It's hard to do it because it's actually a mystery.
Yes.
Yeah. So what is the mystery about, apart from the two children having their mum going missing? What can you tell us about the book? How would you, what is the book about?
It's about love. It's about a mother's love. That's really what it's about. It's a mother's love and the connection to her children and the drive. Because as a mom, you know that you would do anything for your kids. It wouldn't matter where you were or where they were. You would never give up.
Yeah.
Never.
But this is a love that's reciprocated from her boys and her husband. It's a beautiful family this is written about.
Yeah.
So,
And then, so alongside the story, there's another story. There's a lady. So the mum's name is Francie. Then there's another story. And there's a lady whose name is Alice. And Alice loves horses. And I just loved all the horses. I was wondering, where do you get all the names of those horses? Because each horse, like, as you read the name, you'd say a little bit about the horse. And, you can just picture this horse and the whole history of this horse. But do you have horses?
I do not. We had a pony growing up, and I love horses. I love horses. So the names were just given by the Lord. I can't take credit for really anything other than being obedient and writing what He asked me to write. But I just love horses, and rescued horses. That is a dream of mine, that one day I could have property to rescue horses.
Oh, that would be beautiful. Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. It says here, Buddy Boy was a rescued Mustang.
Yes.
Leo resembled a lion due to his mane. Eric, Buddy Boy was an escaped Mustang. Sadie was a Mustang mare. They just, so are you just kind of like sitting there, closing your eyes, and then you see these horses and their names, and you?
Yes, pretty much.
Although you doing that.
Yeah. Well, and Sadie was the name of one of my pups, and Buddy was the name of one of my pups. So you do tend, as a writer, to bring a little bit of yourself into a story.
Yeah, that's good.
You
But
write
not
what you
everything in
know.
the story was about me. Just know that.
No,
Yeah.
it's good.
Shopping day. Stables.
More questions there? I think I could say that was a great presentation. You have a good synopsis, like I said it, of what the book is about. I would highly recommend that. It's a good read from a literary perspective. Like I said, it's this mystery that Kathy brought up, but there's also a good element of suspension, throughout the whole story, and you get a little bit of everything. The supernatural aspects, which I love, I think, about this. And you can read it from a Christian perspective, knowing the supernatural through the Holy Spirit, or you can just read it, anybody can come into this and read and still enjoy and get something out of it, for sure. Yeah. So go ahead.
So yes, I was going to say about the sanctified imagination. The children, like, it's almost that they framed up in their imagination something would happen. Mm-hmm. And they believed it, like they saw it, they lived, they were living something, and no one else, the adults thought like, no, the kids are just like, they need help. But I thought it was so beautiful how you used it. Like, I know Kathy's mentioned this, but I just, the one of the chapters is gone fishing, but the things that happened on that fishing trip, the kids framed it up.
Yes.
And I found myself getting so excited and so encouraged when I was reading that, because I was thinking, yes, it's not like, the universe that belongs to God, and it's not against us. It's for us. And he is for us every single day. And everything we've ever hoped for, dreamed of, or imagined, he wants to give to us. And the kids in the story they were teaching us. So so for me, I was like, wow, I was like, yes, anything is possible. It's not a teaching. It's like, as your story unfolded, I felt like my spirit, like getting really excited, thinking, yes, like it made me like want to believe more and want to just trust more and use my imagination and wake up and realize that we need to see it first. And the kids were just like, they saw, like, everything that unfolds, they see first.
Yes.
Which is really key to, like, it's not like, oh, well, God promised me this and I'm just going to sit and wait for 40 years. It's like, you got to kind of rehearse it and see it in your mind and like make it a reality and do whatever you can, which we often forget to do. And I suppose that's what this book, apart from the beautiful food and the love, reminded me. Yeah. I mean, food and love. Yeah. It was like so much food.
Well, it reminds me of the Hebrew words, ani yotzer.
Yes.
As I speak, I create.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And
Well,
so it's like, as we speak things, we are creating. So what are you speaking? Are you speaking blessings or curses?
Yep. Life or death.
Life or death. Right.
So just to say something, that the kids, there is a sadness that they have to go through before they recognize what God is telling them and showing them, but they become extremely receptive right away. I will say, it's hard to put this book down, and when you're not reading it and you're in the middle of it or wherever, you can't wait to get back to see what's going to happen next. So it is very captivating, because it's just one of those stories, and you don't know the ending, how it will actually play out, but it's captivating.
Yeah.
So,
Yay.
little Zoom where you can't get your whole. Anyway.
And someone, one of the carers was trying really hard, tried to cook their mummy's brownies.
Yeah.
It was beautiful, and they got the exact recipe right.
Yep.
Everything was right, but I don't know which child it was. Was it Frankie? He said, there's no love in it, because mommy adds that secret ingredient of love.
Yep.
And it's like so true. Like, you can get everything right, but without love, it's nothing. Well, especially to them.
Yes.
And that was like, that also kind of sums it up. Like the food, it's not just that. It's like that special ingredient of love, which kind of permeated throughout the father and throughout the whole story. It was the mother's love. And even the father would call his children his babies. And that it's not him being effeminate, it's because he's picked up on that love that was filtered through from the mother throughout the whole family, just like the love in the brownies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. There's so many themes, and and I love it how they all kind of connect. Yeah.
Well, we all know, I don't know if the audience knows, that love carries a frequency, and frequency is energy. So the kids picked up on that without it actually being spoken. So
Right.
yeah, and the gal that made the brownies was trying to do the sweetest, kindest thing she knew to pick their spirits up. But they were good, but they weren't mom's. Mom's hands didn't stir and put the ingredients together, and yeah.
And isn't that what we ourselves experience? You know, we could have a meal that's delicious, but if it brings that memory of what mom made, oh, mom's is so much better, right?
Yeah.
I hear that, you know, through it with our family all the time.
Yeah.
You know, whether we're at my mom's house or the kids are here, you know, and I've cooked. So it's absolutely something that really triggers that love coming through, because it's not a job to create food for your family. It's out of love that we bake, that we cook, that we, you know, whatever. It's out of our love for our family that we do things.
Yep. Yes.
Even if it's a frozen dinner.
Even if.
Or pizza. Yeah.
Or pizza. Exactly. This pizza tastes so great, Mom.
Yeah.
Well, especially if you bless it, regardless of whose hands made it per se.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm dreaming.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Any other questions?
It's so hard because without giving the story away. That's why I'm holding back, because I'm really interested in those fish, those jumping fish. What made you add so in the story they eat these fish, and it's the most incredible, it's kind of like the fish are from heaven. And there again you're bringing it's not just, oh, this is heaven on earth. It's actually you bring these things right down and they eat it.
Yes.
Do you want to say anything about the fish?
So I think that the inspiration for that, of course, was the Lord. But I remember going fishing with my husband. It was the first time after we were married that we went fishing. And then all of a sudden, you know, and I can't remember what it's called right now, but it was a certain time of the day, year, whatever, the fish started jumping and, you know, basically jumping into your boat. And, you know, so it was like when I started to hear the Lord tell me the story, that's what it reminded me of. Right. So I had that memory, and just, you know, just the fish themselves were heavenly sent. There were no fish there. And do we think that Yahweh cannot create something to just like boom, like that, you know? So it was the fish that were suddenly in the water just for them.
And all colors.
That was his promise. His promises are never broken. And so it's his promise that he was giving to the children. This is what you're going to see. This is what you're going to experience. And it comes to pass.
And weren't the fish rainbow colors?
Yes, they were.
I wonder what the fish tasted like when Yeshua told the disciples to put out the nets again, because those must be supernatural fish.
They had to have been the best.
It must be.
They had to have been.
Or the fish Yeshua made after he rose from the dead on the beach.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yes. He was cooking them, right?
Yes, he was, because he loved
He did.
his family.
Yes. Yeah.
It didn't say he went fishing for the fish.
It did not say that.
I wonder where he got the fish from.
It's a mystery, like the book.
The mystery. Read the book to find out where he got it.
It's
Read his book, not my book necessarily, but read his book to see where Yeshua got his fish.
Yeah. Read the book.
I was going to say that we can we can be sure that it was great fish, and it's not just like a suspicion that okay, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. We can be sure that it was good because look at the water and the wine, because it's like, hey, this is the best wine. He saved it for last.
Exactly.
So if he had his hands on it, that means it was only the best that he produced. So yeah.
That's right. That's right. The other thing I wanted to say was that the Lord has always said to me that write what I tell you, and I do the rest. And I can tell you that my girlfriend, who was the first one to read this book, she said she bawled all the way through the book.
Oh yeah.
And she had whatever trauma the Lord was healing in her, whatever, it was between he and her. But she said, I just bawled all the way through the book. And so that's, when he tells you to write something, just be obedient. He will do his work.
Yeah.
He will do his work.
He will.
Yeah.
We can testify to that personally, can't we?
Yes.
And so, Rachel, where can we get this book?
You can go to our website, 7daughtersofom.tv,
Yes.
and order the book.
And if you're in the UK or South Africa, well, I don't know about South Africa, you can get it on Amazon as well.
Yes.
Also
Yeah.
on Amazon. Yeah. And do you do signed copies, Rachel?
I can if you order them from the US. We'd have to see what postage for a signed copy would be like to ship it overseas, but yes, absolutely can.
Yeah. Good. So are there any kind of last things you want to tell the audience, like why they should get the book, or any last words, Rachel?
No, not really. I feel like we've given, without giving things away, it's really hard. I loved writing this book. And if you have a love for writing, start writing. And the reason that we started this business is that we all are all authors. Mm-hmm. We all create things. And so it was about putting together a publishing house business that can help his kingdom move forward. So if you have a story that you want to write, a book you want to get out, we're a publishing house, reach out to us, and we'd be happy to help you, whether it's editing, creating, covers, whatever it is that you need help with. And we are helping, part of our mandate is to help move that kingdom forward in the ways that he as in Yahweh wants us, or the creator wants us to move things forward.
Yeah. And business doesn't exclude creativity. Exactly. As a matter of fact, like, he is creator God. And I just love the fact that we're starting to read again, and we're starting to put our thoughts, and we're starting to say, actually, it's not so bad. Let's be poets, and let's write, and let's start reading again. Pick up a book.
You're never too old to do it.
Yeah, put Facebook down, even all the teachings are great, but there comes a time where kind of, read a book and get lost in the book. And it's also another beautiful way for, the creator to speak to you, because we are kind of up to here with teachings. And it's so refreshing to read again, and also to write, and to speak. And so it actually does bring out the teachers in us and the children in us, and just the beauty and wonder of the creator, just all the reading and the writing and the creating. So, and this book, Rachel, is so beautiful. Such a beautiful taste of heaven.
It is, Rachel. It's amazing. I want to piggyback on what Michelle just said. Get out a book. Get this book. Get out a book. Turn off the TV. You're not using your imagination when you're watching TV. You are
Yes.
judging things.
Yeah.
You are. Get out, get the book. I mean, if you want, a couple hours here, a couple hours there to just enjoy letting your imagination see what's being described, because your imagination is special.
Mhm.
As you read others and you imagine and see the things that are described and smell the scents and the cooking and the roses and the skunk. Sorry, there was a skunk in there. And
Yeah.
as all these things take place, you are more blessed, more sensitive to the spirit, more sensitive in your imagination.
Mm.
And for those of you starting the sonship journey, will be enhanced as you do that in relation to reading a book like Rachel wrote, A Mother's Broken Promise.
Thank you. I do want to add, I said you're not too old to write. You're also not too young to write.
True.
So we are going to have some workshops for young writers,
Yep.
young illustrators, and looking to help the youth, the younger, even the older youth, right? To begin their journey in what and how they were created, and encouraging their growth in their giftings. And look for those workshops to come up. And if you're already have written things, just reach out to us, the little ones, right? You have a son or daughter that are writing stories, just reach out to us, and you don't have to wait till our workshops come out. But and those will be soon. Those will be soon.
Yes.
Anyone else have a last word you'd like to say?
Word.
I think Martha does.
I do. Thank you again, Rachel. Thank you for being so faithful as well, listening to what the Lord put on your heart and just, writing it down, and for every one of us to enjoy it and to engage in it. And the core of the story, you keep mentioning that it's just about a mother's love, love Yahweh, love himself. Yeah, it says it all. So congratulations on your book.
Thank you.
Yes, and there's many more as well. I know we're not mentioning all the other books here. She's an author, so she's continuously writing, and she continues to receive from Yahweh. So be on the lookout for that as well in the future.
Yep, more books from Michelle, more books from Rachel, some children's books from some of us. So
True.
yeah.
True.
Yes. So with that, we say shalom.
Thank you,
Shalom.
everyone.
Bless you. And we'll see you on our next live.